The Democratic National Committee says it will hold a virtual roll call by August 7th to select its nominees for president and vice president. The process could make it difficult for anyone to challenge the current vice president and presumptive Democratic nominee, Kamala Harris. CBS News has also confirmed the Harris campaign is considering about a dozen potential running mates. So to talk about this, Major Garrett joins me now from Nashville, Tennessee. Major, I know you interviewed RFK Jr., and I want to get to that soundbite, so I'm just going to ask you one question about this Harris business. Can you tell me if you think the map or the electorate changes with her as the nominee? Are there different parts of the electorate that we should be focusing on now? And if Biden was running in the Midwest as his blue wall, is that still true for Harris, or does she have opportunities in Georgia, Arizona, Nevada?
Oh, she certainly has opportunities in Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. And what has changed structurally in this race, John, is before President Biden made the announcement that he would not seek renomination and a second term, is that all that was really left credibly for the Democratic National Committee, the Biden-Harris reelection campaign, was holding on to Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And even that was going to be difficult. They didn't concede Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, but the numbers there were trending very negatively against the Biden reelection campaign. Now that President Biden has decided to step away from this race and being replaced, if that is in fact what the Democratic National Committee does, with the presumptive nominee who has all the delegate momentum behind her, Vice President Kamala Harris, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada are now all equally competitive. So the map as we understood it in 2020 is the map of 2024, with one possible addition, North Carolina. Former President Trump carried it in 2016, but he carried it by half as much in terms of percentage vote in 2020. Democrats have long said North Carolina might be a potential takeaway state on the 2024 map. Kamala Harris does nothing to discourage those plans. So the map that was most aspirational for Democrats heading into 2024, but wasn't, with President Biden leading the ticket, again, is now.
Excellent tour there. And we should note North Carolina won once by Obama, then lost by Obama, and then lost by Hillary, just to give everybody what they need to know on North Carolina. Now, you're in Nashville. You interviewed RFK Jr., and let's listen to a clip from that interview.
Did you watch the president's address last night?
I watched part of it.
Your impression?
I think it was more of a statement about what his accomplishments were rather than sort of a reassurance to the American public about where we are today.
Did he provide an adequate explanation of the circumstances of the last week, to your belief?
I don't think so.
What's missing?
Well, you know, I've known Joe Biden for 40 years, and I commend him and respect him for the 50 years that he gave in service to our country. But I think he tarred that reputation and that career over the past year by refusing to let go of power. And, you know, one of the things that a lot of Americans blame Donald Trump for is the January 6th event, which suggested that he was unwilling to let go of power. And let me just finish what I'm saying. You know, one of the most important events in the history of our country was George Washington's decision to resign after the second term. So I think part of our traditions is that our leaders relinquish power, and that they do that graciously. And no, I don't think that President Trump did that graciously, and I don't think President Biden did either.
John, what's interesting about that exchange, John, is that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. kind of drew, and when you see the interview in full, you'll see me pressing on this. Are you drawing a moral equivalence between what happened on January 6th and how former President Trump, then President Trump, certainly egged all of that on with a reluctancy on President Biden to step away from power and step away from re-election, step away from the campaign in 2024? And he didn't really land solidly on a definitive answer there. The one thing I was able to find out from Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in our extended conversation is that he doesn't believe that January 6th rioters who stormed the Capitol were activists, and he believes those prosecuted for serious felonies are not political prisoners. So we got some clarity on that. But on this, whether or not this graciousness in relinquishing power is morally equivalent between Biden and former President Trump, still murky.
Yes, fascinating exchange, Major. Thank you so much. Major Garrett in Nashville, Tennessee.